Welcome back to the Rooted in the Seasons podcast, where I explore simple, grounded ways to feel more balanced through yoga, Ayurveda, and seasonal living. Today, I'm honored to welcome Swami Saradananda, a world-renowned yoga teacher, author, and someone whose depth of experience brings a truly holistic perspective to modern wellness. Swami Saradananda spent over 26 years working with the international Shivananda Yoga Vedanta centers, directing ashrams and centers in places like New York, London, New Delhi, and the Himalayas. She now teaches internationally and is based in London, sharing her wisdom through accessible, insightful books, including Mudras of Modern Life, which inspired today's episode. We begin by exploring what it meant to walk the path of a Swami, a spiritual title many listeners may have heard but not fully understood. Swami Saradananda shares how she came to take that path and how she shaped her ability to stay steady amidst the many demands of teaching, writing, and travel. From there, we dive into mudras, subtle hand gestures used in yoga and meditation that often get overshadowed by the physical side of the practice. If you ever felt emotionally scattered, overwhelmed, and just curious about the deeper layers of yoga, this episode will show you how something as simple as your hand can help anchor your attention and restore calm. Whether you're new to mudras or already using them intuitively, this conversation is full of quiet insights, practical tools you can carry into your daily life, even in the middle of the busy workday. Let's dive in. So I've done already a little bit of the introduction, but I wanted to do a little more. So today's episode, I'm super excited. I have Swami Saradananda with me, and we're going to talk especially about mudras. So welcome, Swami Saradananda, to the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Katja. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm truly excited. So you have, I have some of your books, and so I read, what you have done throughout your life, which is quite a lot, and you have been lived in many countries. Like you come from New York, you said originally, but you also have lived in London and in India. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey? What drew you to yoga to start off with?
Actually, I was very sick as a child. I had polio.
Wow.
And I was paralyzed when I was about 4 years old. And the doctors told my parents I'd never be able to walk again. And my mother used to say I could walk because I was too young to understand the doctors. So
yes.
I just kept trying. Yeah. But when I was at school, I was never allowed to do any kind of physical exercise because my parents were always worried I'd hurt myself in some way.
Yeah.
But when I went to university, they said I had to take a year of gym. And I found that it helped me so much.
Wow.
And from then on, I tried to do his physical exercise, and one day, sorry, I was living in Florida, and I was looking in the newspaper just for some class to go to, and I saw an ad for yoga, and I had no idea what it was, but I thought, okay, I'll try it. So I went to class, and I just found it helped me like so much more than any other kind of exercise I had tried. So that's what got me into yoga.
Right.
I tried practicing yoga, and I remember I bought a book about it was called The Complete Illustrated Book of Yoga by my teacher Swami Devananda,
Okay.
and in it was a new word that I had never seen or heard before, which was vegetarian. And I never even thought that people could, it didn't occur to me to not eat meat.
Yes.
And anyway, so I tried it, and I found that it really worked. Plus from the physical point of view, the nonviolent ahimsa point of view. So I've been practicing yoga on various levels, I would say, since then. And I've actually been teaching for a really long time. I recently celebrated 50 years of teaching yoga.
Wow.
Yeah, I always think it's funny when people advertise that they've been teaching yoga for 7 years.
I know this is really absolutely remarkable, and it must have changed all throughout the years. So you came to yoga, just digressing a little bit. You came to yoga when it was nothing of what it looks like now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. When I started doing yoga, only hippies did yoga.
Yes. And I have to say, I'm practicing yoga since about 30 years now. And even when one of my colleagues, she wanted me to join her in a class, give her some company there. And I thought, this is only for hippies. It's not me, So I was quite reluctant to go with her because I had no idea what yoga was. But that was it. It was something for hippies. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the big change was actually in the year 2000 because, no, actually 2001, because that's the year I went to India. I lived in India for the entire year. And when I came back, it's like everything was different.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think there was a big shift that came in then. Okay. So when you started straight in the Shivananda lineage? Or
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So you've been with that for 50 or more than 50 years.
Well, I went to class, maybe about 7 years before I actually started working with them.
Yeah.
And then I worked with them for 26 years, but I actually left there in the year 2000.
Yes.
And that's when I went to India, because when I left the ashram, people said to me, oh, you can't leave. You'll never be able to practice if you just lead a normal life. And then I thought, well, if I can't just practice on my own, I've been wasting my time. So I thought I would just really focus on my practice for a year. And then I didn't do any teaching or anything for 1 year. I just really focused on my own practice. And then I came back and I started teaching again. But I haven't been teaching with the Shivananda organization in about 25 years now.
So one of my questions that I wanted to ask you, because most of my listeners probably don't know what a Swami is, right? So has that come in then? Or have you been a Swami in the Shivananda lineage already?
Well, I've been a Swami for almost 50 years now.
Okay.
And yeah, and I usually explain it to people as being a little bit like in the West, we have monks and nuns who have taken vows.
Yes.
So a Swami is someone who has taken vow. But the vows that we take are different from those that monks and nuns in the West take.
Yeah.
They take vows of obedience, chastity, and poverty, I think it is.
Mm.
Whereas our vows are we renounce the desire for name and fame.
Okay.
We renounce the desire for riches and also family. And I know the last part about having no family, a lot of people say, but isn't that difficult? But the idea is that you don't have the attachment to an individual family,
Mm.
but you take the whole world as your family.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So a Swami doesn't have to live in a monastery or an ashram. A Swami can be any place.
Mm.
Um, and you take those vows, and a lot of people confuse the concept of vows. People think you take a vow, it's something you can do,
Yes.
because I've heard people say, oh, if you can't keep your vows, just go and do something
Mm.
else. But actually, you don't take a vow if you can do something. You only take a vow, something that you can't do yet, but you want to be able to do.
Okay.
See, for example, I don't smoke.
Yes.
But if I took a vow of not smoking, it's useless because I have no desire to smoke. I don't want to smoke.
Yes.
You see? So something I can do, there's no need for me to take a vow.
Okay.
Now, maybe if I want to try not to get angry so often or be a more patient person,
Yes.
might be a good vow for me
Okay.
to.
So these vow go into the tapasya area, yeah, where you do or you renounce something that you actually like doing. You want to
Well,
do, or as more like you want to get to a particular point, and that's the vow that you take.
yeah. So if there's something I want to do, I might take a vow saying, this is what I'm going to do. So I think of a vow as stating an intention,
Okay, yeah, okay.
right?
That's. I think that's
So,
a good. That's something that people
mm,
understand. Stating an intention. That's great.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And we don't always live up to our intentions, but we keep trying.
Yes, absolutely, because we are all humans, right?
Right, right.
And we can just try. And that's it. So you have written many books on sort of the lesser known aspects of yoga, like what I like the mudras, or also the chakras, although they are more well known, but maybe not the concept behind it properly. And what drew you into really diving into these mudras more so?
Um, well, I started teaching a course in, I call it Teach
Yeah.
Meditation. And it's for yoga teachers who want to teach meditation.
Yes.
And part of meditation, people would say to me, oh, what should I do with my hands?
Yeah.
So we started experimenting with different mudras. And I started recording the reactions of the people. And I've noticed that often people, they want you to tell them what are the benefits of this.
Yes.
Whereas I think if there's a benefit and you're practicing, you should be able to see it for yourself. So a lot of times when I teach, I don't say to people, this is good for this. I just say, okay, practice and then report back.
Mm.
What did you find
Yeah.
happening? So I started really working with mudras for meditation and recording the results that people had. or findings that people had. And from there, I started working with other mudras as well. And I started to talk also to dancers in India
Yeah.
who taught me like different mudras and so various sources. But then I tried to work with it myself before I actually put it in the book. So or have people, I would say to students, okay, practice this,
Yes.
report back what you found.
Yeah. 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 So that was one of my questions from that is, I mean, because you have been in senior roles for quite a long time, so you led centers and you led ashrams, which can be stressful as well. And has there been any practice or particular mudras that you used for yourself, or you're still using for yourself to sort of calm the mind and or to just anchor in a particular situation?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think when I sit for meditation or whenever I'm stressed, I sit and I take a few deep breaths and I use a very simple mudra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a lot of people know chin
Yeah,
mudra, which is joining the index and the
yeah.
thumb. But we say that when the palm is upward, we're we want to receive guidance or
Mm,
inspiration, right? Which is the way most yogis sit for
yeah.
meditation. However, if you turn the hands the other way with the fingers pointing
Mm,
downward, it tends to be much more grounding.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
See, we call it, when the fingers are pointing downward, we call it jnana
yeah.
mudra. Jnana means wisdom,
Yes, yes.
right?
So
Um,
tapping into your inner wisdom.
uh-huh. Yeah. So I found for myself, it's a very simple mudra, but I found that it's very grounding, and we all need grounding at some point.
Absolutely. We
You know,
definitely.
I mean, sometimes you're moving house, you're very ungrounded,
Mm,
or you're changing jobs, or maybe worse than changing jobs, you lost your job
yes, yeah,
and you don't have another one yet.
yes.
So you don't feel very grounded.
Mm,
So I think if you use this very simple mudra and also very simple practice to just sit for a few minutes and really breathe into it.
yes, yes,
Right? Um, the first book that I wrote when I stopped working with the Shivananda organization was my book Chakra
yeah.
Meditation, which a publisher approached me and they asked me to do that book. And about a year or two after it came out, they asked me to write a book on breathing, the power of breath.
Yes.
And when I was writing that book, I realized it's actually a prequel.
Okay.
If you want to work with chakras, start by working with the breath.
Yes.
And then a few years later, I wrote a book on Kriyas, cleansing exercises. And I realized actually that's a prequel to the prequel. Because if you want to work with the breath, it's good to start with cleansing
Yes.
exercises. And I know this is a very simple aspect of yoga that people just seem to not know anything about. Or if they do, they sort of put it off, or they think it's a bit too weird.
Yeah. I think it's the
Yeah.
unknown, and that it is weird to them, that
Mhm,
it sort of deters a little, and yeah.
mhm. Right. Yeah. Like I know for myself, I do neti, nasal
Yeah.
cleansing every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know when I suggest it to a lot of people, I can see their face. They sort of,
Yeah.
mm, you know.
Yes.
But actually, I don't know how people live in a modern city
With
and not do neti
yes,
because our air is so polluted.
that's right.
And even if you live in a healthy and where the air is relatively good. There's still a lot of pollen, there's
Mm.
dust, especially at this time of
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So I think it's very important to do that on a regular
Yeah, yeah.
basis.
I agree. It is, and I also have made the same experience when teaching it. There was a lot of resistance. That is something haven't. Does that water run into my brain? Does it get does it get out again, or does it get stuck? And but I think everyone who gives it a try really has felt great afterwards, and they compared like it feels like you're on the ocean, and
Mhm.
you just had a swim in the salt water. Yeah,
Mhm.
but I agree. It is both what you said. That there's a lot of ungrounding without even needing to be in these situations of losing something or changing houses, but just our life is very much based in the head, and the mind is very active, and the thoughts are very active, and people get just overwhelmed and confused about what to do, and getting torn. So something that simple like that, turning the palms down, is you can do everywhere, on a commute, in a meeting, and this is really, it's an excellent advice. So the mudras, they do work in a particular way. So there's a reason why we bring the thumb and the index finger together, or other fingers are touching. Could you explain a little bit about the concept that is behind the mudra, why they work?
Mhm. Okay. Well, I think your listeners have probably heard of the concept of prana,
Mm,
which is the subtle energy moving through the physical body, but not a physical
yeah.
thing, sort of like chi or ki in acupuncture, right? And as yoga teachers, we always talk about Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, these central channels that the prana moves through. But there are a lot of other very important channels that are used for healing.
Mm,
For instance, in traditional Chinese medicine, they say there are 14 major healing meridians,
yes.
and most of those start or finish in the hands or the feet. So imagine you have different wires in your
Mm.
hand, and you join two wires, so for people who don't see a picture of me, if I join the index and the thumb, I'm joining two wires. But if I join the middle finger and the thumb, I'm joining two different
Mm,
wires. So it's like I'm changing the direction of the flow of
mm.
energy. And it's sort of like, a train, and they switch the track to go in another direction.
I see. Yes, yeah. By the
Yeah. So that's what you're doing,
mm,
is you're switching the energy to move in a specific direction when you join the
mm.
fingers, the hands, in different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
That's good. So these meridians, are they connected to the nadis that you would also the words that we would use in the more yoga related?
Yeah. Well, yogis call them nadis, whereas I think most people in the West know the term meridian.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
we can say it's just another word for the same
Yeah.
thing. Actually, the word nadi means river, but it's not the water in the river. It's a channel that the water is going through. So, in the body, it's a channel. They're the channels that the prana is moving
Yeah.
through.
So you would redirect this energy into to get a particular outcome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
very interesting. And would you need to know, when you start off with practicing yoga, you said, for example, you're prequel to the chakra meditation is first the kriyas and then the breathing, and then you could do that. Do you think that everyone, even if they have maybe attend a yoga class on a weekly basis or just dip in the mudras, they could everyone can do, or is there also a prequel to that?
Well, I think the prequel would be just hand flexibility.
Okay.
Because, most people nowadays work at computers. So if you work at a computer, your hands are in this position all day.
Yes.
Your fingers are moving in towards the palm, and we never stretch the hand in the opposite direction. So since I've been teaching yoga so many years, I can see the difference in people's bodies.
Yes.
As more people work at computers, they spend more time at computers. Also, they spend more time texting. So I find that people are able to do less and less things that people used to do very easily.
Yeah.
So I would say that a prequel to working with mudras is to get some hand flexibility.
Okay.
And that's why in my book, the first chapter is completely devoted to hand flexibility. And I know when I was writing it, I kept telling the editor, I think this is the most important chapter of the book. This is a chapter that even people who aren't yogis will be interested in.
Yes.
Right? Because nowadays everyone works at computers.
That's right. Do you have one warming up or one movement that everyone from your chapter that everyone should do on a daily basis?
Well, there are a couple.
Yeah.
One is I tell people every half hour or so, take your hands off the computer
Yeah.
and just close your eyes in 30 seconds. Just rub the tips of the thumbs and the tips of the fingers together. And then open your eyes, go back to your work.
Yeah.
And that really, it relaxes your hands, it relaxes your eyes, it relaxes your brain.
Yes.
And then you're ready to work again. And even if you have a boss that doesn't like you taking a lot of breaks, no one is going to object to 30 seconds. So I suggest people do that on a regular basis.
That's yeah, and you can really feel that, that it just switches something after a few moments, just doing this little movement.
Yeah, it's a very simple movement. But then the other thing is just to take your index finger, and as you exhale, push it back as far as you can without hurting yourself.
Yes.
Just exhale comfortably and then relax, release it. And then go to your middle finger. So you're pushing with the opposite hand. Exhale, stretch the finger back, and inhale, release it. And then the ring finger, exhale, release. Little finger, exhale, and release. Don't do your thumbs.
Okay.
Because your thumb is a different kind of joint. If you push it back, you can disjoint it.
That's very good to know.
Yeah. So do the 4 other fingers.
Yeah.
And then do the other hand. So I think this is a very good one to do every day.
Yes.
So I would say those 2 exercises. Just relaxing for 30 seconds.
I think that's really a good one. Like you said, you can just take your hands off in between 2 emails, you can lean back, close your eyes and do that for a few moments. And there's so much happening in our hands, right? It immediately connects to the nervous system and lots of nerves, and it has really an immediate impact on that. And Nadis, of course.
Yeah, it connects to the brain and relaxes the eyes. All the things that are a bit stressed by looking at a computer all day.
Yes, absolutely. And is there another mudra that sort of looking down, or or a couple of mudras that everyone could do, which is easy to do and also works? In your book, you introduce one, and you have this. This is instant calm. The
Instant what? I'm
instant
sorry.
calm. The Bhairava.
Oh, mm, yeah, Bhairava
Bhairava
Mudra.
mudra.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, so Bhairava Mudra is, I would say, used for meditation. If people go to a Buddhist Sangha,
Yeah.
that's the Buddhists tend to use Bhairava
Mm.
Mudra in meditation, whereas yogis tend to use Chin
Yeah.
Mudra, which we already talked about. Um, some sanghas tell you to put the right hand on top. Some sanghas tell you to put the left hand on top. Some sanghas say that men put the right, women put the left on top. So there are different theories about it. But it is a very centering
Yeah.
mudra, right? I know a lot of people like to use it for meditation,
Mm.
but I found that one problem with it is that when you have your hands in the center, there's more tendency to fall forward.
Okay.
You see, because people work at computers and they're getting more and more round shouldered.
Mm.
So the benefit of using Chin Mudra,
Yeah,
each hand is resting on the thigh and it pushes the shoulders back.
that's right.
However, if you want to use Bhairava Mudra, what I suggest to people is they take a small cushion, like maybe if they have an extra meditation
Yeah,
cushion
yeah, yeah.
or even a yoga block, and they put it in their lap and they rest their hands on it.
Mm.
And that will push the shoulders back and they won't tend to fall forward as much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You see, when you fall forward, of course, it cuts off your breathing.
Mm. Yes.
And then when you're not breathing deeply, there's a tendency to fall asleep.
Mm. Yes.
So I think it's important to sort of sit up straight and be able to breathe fully while you're trying to
Yeah,
meditate.
yeah, yeah. And if you need some, throughout the day, my thought was, if you, for example, have a meeting that stresses you, or where you not sit in meditation, but you need access to something, what you meant earlier within Jnana Mudra, to be grounded with the palms down, because that's also something that is very easy in terms of how to do it, and where to do it as well. It is it blends in with if you're sitting on a tube, or if you would sit on a meeting or be in a situation where your
Mhm,
thoughts are very active, and you just
mhm,
want to still that
mhm.
consciously for a moment.
Uh-huh. Right, right. Yeah, another mudra that I sometimes suggest to people when they're sitting at meetings and, it's sort of difficult. What is this person really trying to get
Yeah,
at?
yeah.
Right? So it's another very simple mudra is you just take the thumb and you push down on the nail of the middle finger.
Okay. So it's activity in the fingers there.
Yeah. So we say that this encourages deep listening,
Okay. Really?
right? Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you press a little on the nail of the middle finger.
Yeah. And you can do it with
You
both
can do with
hands.
both hands.
And if you're sitting in a meeting, of course, you wouldn't sit with your hands
No.
up. But you could just have your hands in your lap and be listening and
That's a very good advice, and
uh-huh.
a good suggestion. because, what people say can be very confusing. And especially when you sit in these meetings and you really don't, there's not much clarity there. And that's very good. I think everyone should practice that a little, learn listening again. That's very good. So you, if you think about, or you do teacher training for, or train the teacher already, in how to meditate, or how to teach meditation, and how to use these mudras. What would be an easy, or how to integrate that easily into your practice? What I've seen sometimes is that as you do, or as you practice any asanas, any postures, let's say you have a warrior and then you do have the hands in either Jin Mudra or anything else. How would you recommend that? Do these mudras, that's another question, but it filters in with that. Do they need to be held for a particular length of time? Sort of what I'm after is, if you would practice, for example, mudras integrated into a posture, which is not Siddhasana, but any other standing posture, for example, is that helpful? Would the pose need to be held for a longer time for the mudra to sort of do what it does?
No, I would think that as long as you can still hold the pose for as long as you can hold it. And of course, we gradually increase the amount of holding. So I think if you were holding it a shorter time with the mudra, and then as you increase the time, you could just hold the mudra as well.
Okay.
Sorry. I teach a 5-week course called Mudras for Modern Life. Actually, I'm starting one online in September.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And people, when I teach the course, I actually teach the various mudras connected to various practices of yoga. So there are different mudras we do with pranayama.
Yes.
Some we do with asanas, some we do with meditation, of course. And some we do with what didn't I mention? Meditation. Oh, chanting.
Chanting. Yes.
You see? Yeah. So we can also we have different mudras that we use, integrating the breath, mudras, mantra all together. So I teach these various techniques.
Okay, that's good. I will put the link into the show notes, as you can send it over to me, and I'll edit then. That's very interesting, and that would be open for everyone as well, like yoga practitioners, or every now and then yoga practitioners and teachers alike.
Yeah, it's a very basic course. And also I find sometimes people take it who, they're having difficulty doing asanas, like, people who would take a class in chair yoga.
Yes, yes.
Of course, mudras are very good. Or if you teach a class in chair yoga,
absolutely.
because they're very...
Yes, absolutely. It gives another layer to the practice there as well. Or, like you said, some people, they are reluctant if they are not well to attend a physical class, and there's still something that they could do to help them. Help their body to heal, and or for them to focus, or just stay a little bit more uplifted.
Right. Yeah, but we do various mudras with pranayama in conjunction, and various mudras with... I think I focus more on the pranayama and the chanting a lot.
Okay.
Right? because other people teach the other things.
Yeah. But it's still, I think there's still, mudras is something that is really not often taught, either in a yoga teacher training or as a module for yoga teachers, but also, like I said, for just the yoga practitioner who joins the yoga classes or have their own practice at home and want to add another layer to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is good for a lot of people. That's excellent. Wonderful. I'm just looking if I covered all whatever. I think we have covered all the questions that I had. Is there anything that you feel we need to hear and we haven't spoken about it yet?
Well, sort of my thoughts this week. Someone asked me, a student, he said, it just seems like things are so dark nowadays. And sometimes we get a little like, oh, what can I do about
Yeah.
it? So I think the most important thing in any practice is never think there's nothing you can do. Never think you're stuck and what can I do? I just have to go along with it. There's always something you can do, right? If we're talking about mudras, even a person who's completely bedridden can do them.
Yes.
Anyone can do them.
Yes.
So there's always something you can do, physically and also mentally.
Yeah. That's right. I think that's a good point, to know that there are quite a lot of things that we can do for ourselves, and also thinking, although we do them, but still, they affect others and that affect others. So I was mentioned, and I also see that for myself, whatever we do has a ripple effect on others. Because we all of a sudden maybe are a bit more uplifted, or maybe are more proactive, or calmer, or more peaceful, and it does affect our family and our friends and our colleagues, and it does something to them as well. So I think that is something that is really good, and also a good way really to finish is that there's always something that we can do to help us, and with that really help others as well. Where are the places that people can look for you?
Well, I have a website.
Yes.
It's just called yogamentor.yoga.
Okay.
Very simple. And recently I've been writing on Substack. I think you're writing on that as well, Katja.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've been posting more and more articles. And every month I have what I call a satsang, which is we talk about some aspect of yoga philosophy, but I do it mainly in the form of storytelling.
That's nice.
Because I've noticed when I talk about the philosophy, often after a few minutes, I notice people start to doze off. But everyone likes stories.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the stories of Indian mythology, it's encoding the different teachings. So I've been trying to unlock some of those teachings for people.
Ah, that's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Do you do that on a particular day every month?
I do it on a Sunday, and which Sunday depends on the month. Usually it's the middle of the month, but I've got it all posted on my website.
Okay, excellent. And that's on Substack? Or
No, I have my website is I mentioned, it's just
Yeah,
yogamentor.yoga.
yeah.
And on Substack, that's a good idea. I'll post all the dates on Substack as well.
Yes. But they are on your website as well. And people can
Yes.
just book into those, or?
Yeah, they're all online. And I do it on I hate to ask people to pay for satsang, but then again,
It's your time.
yeah, so I do it on a sliding scale,
Okay.
asking people to pay what they can afford,
Yeah.
suggesting maybe 9, 20. I say between 9 and 27,
Okay.
depending on
Excellent.
your. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's very good. So your website on Subs and and the course that will start in September.
Yeah, I'll send all those details over to you, and maybe you can post that as well.
Absolutely, I will. They will all go in the show notes, and I will mention that there as well, so people can have a look. Very good. Thank you so much. That was very interesting, and I'm very sure that everyone is a little more relaxed now to try, some movements with their hands, and also to get some more mobility in the hands. You're right. Computer work is not really brings stiffness into the hands, into the wrists and the forearms as well, because some of the mudras they can be quite tricky as well to for the hands to do, and you need flexibility not just in the hands but also along the arm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but I always think it's good to start simply.
Absolutely, always.
Do what you can, and then gradually that your abilities increase.
Yes. And they work, like you said, grounding with the Jnana Mudra, and you will feel that within a very short time that something shifts in your energy. And so that is excellent. So thank you so much for the suggestions and the advice, but also for bringing the mudras a little closer to us, because they are really too good and too valuable for everyone at any level to be missed out on and to be disregarded, or to think, oh, it's too complicated, I can't do that.
Right. And for people who think they have no time to practice, it doesn't.
Absolutely. That's a good one. I think that's probably the most important one, because the time aspect is, yes, I have no time. No need to roll out the mat either, right? You can just sit on a chair or wherever you are.
Yeah, or even sitting on a train going to work.
Yes, absolutely. And coming home, maybe even more so. Thank you so much. That was very interesting, and everyone. There was something for everyone. That's what I wanted to say. And so nice to meet you. And I will put that all up, and all the best for you. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Swami Saradananda as much as I did. It's such a beautiful reminder that even something as simple as turning your palms down in Jnana Mudra or stretching your fingers for a few breaths can start to calm the mind and bring you back to yourself. No yoga mat needed. If you like to learn more, you can find Swami Saradananda's upcoming courses and satsang on her website at yogamentor.yoga. And I've also linked everything in the show notes. As always, thank you for listening. If this episode sparked something for you, I'd love to hear. You can drop a message on Instagram or share it with a friend who might find it helpful. Until next time, take good care. Thank you.